it's Andrea from WellAndrea, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about why an exercise program that is a perfectly good program may not work for you and why you should not stick to it, quote unquote, no matter what. So I'm going to do this by giving you examples of 3 programs that I have done that were good programs. They were really good programs, but they did not work for me. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit what the programs were and why they ended up not working for me. So the first program I did was a dumbbell weightlifting program, and it was a very good program. It was a 5-day-a-week lifting program with an optional 6th day, and it was a quite intense program. What I really liked about it is that it focused on the big muscle groups, the smaller muscle groups. It really broke up the body quite well, and it was really a good program. The person who designed the program is extremely fit. She has been working out for many years. She is very muscular, very strong, and at least a decade, I would say, younger than I am. And when I started the program, I had been lifting weights on my own. I have a personal trainer certification, so I had been working the major muscle groups. I had also been doing some Pilates, some yoga. I love to hike. I'd been doing a little bit of running. I walk every day, things like that. So when I added this program, I never attempted 6 days. I've always did 5 days. But when I started that, I pretty much right away noticed that it just was a lot of volume. It was about 45, each workout was about 45 minutes to maybe even an hour. And I noticed very quickly that that was just too much for me. Now, I may have been able to adjust to this if I had, sort of worked up to this, and maybe just before I started that program, even though it wasn't a beginner program, it was sort of an intermediate program. So maybe if I had done a little bit more lifting on my own before, maybe it would have worked a little better. But regardless, it was too much, and I tried to adjust it in the sense that I tried to, do fewer days. But one thing I noticed about this program was it really broke up the body in different ways, which was actually great and sort of a new way, but it also made it really difficult to hit all the major muscle groups every week if I didn't follow the 5 days a week. So I tried different things. I tried to do 3 days a week. I tried to do every other day. It just never really worked out. So ultimately, I had to let go of that program, even though it was a great program. And I am sure it works for a lot of people, especially if they have worked out for a while, especially if they don't do a lot of other things. I think for me, the big problem was also, I was still doing Pilates, I was still hiking, I was still running. So it was just too much. So I think that is one reason that a perfectly fine program may not work for you. The second program I did, or the second thing I did, was daily yoga for at least 30 minutes, usually 30 to 45 minutes. And it was actually a pretty similar situation. I loved the yoga, but it wasn't restorative yoga or just an easy morning routine, but it was a pretty challenging program. And again, with everything else I was doing, and especially that I found necessary. So I, will always lift weights. I will always work on my cardiovascular system. Those are sort of non-negotiables for me. It just also ended up being too much. So for me, a much better approach to have yoga in my life is actually doing my own little practice for 5 to 10 minutes every morning, or doing some sort of a program that's only 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe 15 minutes the most. And maybe it's also a little gentler, like gentle morning yoga, or at least include some restorative yoga, something like that. The third program I'm actually doing right now, and it is a mobility program. There are lots of mobility programs out there right now, and there are lots of programs that have really good components, I have to say. I've tried a couple now. Now, this, I know already, is not going to work for me long term, and there are a couple reasons. It's on a pretty good platform, but it's a platform that I cannot screen to my TV, so I would have to watch it. I'm watching it right now on my phone, which is just annoying, or on my iPad. And I just know for myself, I prefer to do my mobility practice either as part of my movement breaks, one joint at a time, or also included in my workouts. And spending another 20 to 25 minutes every morning on this, it's just not something that really works that well for me. I don't enjoy it that much. Even though it's a good app, it's sort of still a little bit clunky, and it's just not ideal. So anyway, I just wanted to point out to you that there are many really good programs, and that you may see people online, you may have friends, you may have, you may look at the program and say, this is a good program, but the program may still not work for you. And it's absolutely okay then to adjust things, right? So for example, for the mobility program, I'm definitely learning things and will incorporate bits and pieces of this in the future. It's just not something that I will continue to do every single day. All right, I hope you're having a great day. Keep moving and keep listening to your body. It knows. And I truly believe we will stick with things long term if they fit our life and if they make sense to us. Have a great day.